Applying to school in the United States was a process, and it was in a way a long process, but it was all worth it. These requirements were so challenging for me, but thanks to Education USA, I had that opportunity of learning about how to go through that process, and you could prepare yourself well enough for applying to colleges here.
When you are facing something new, whether it's an environment, a new academic way, a new curriculum, you learn to adapt. You have the opportunity to immerse yourself in a truly innovative and diverse culture and to learn unique skills that are going to help you to succeed wherever you decide to do. It's something that is pretty unique to the United States.
Education USA is not only before you go to college, but also during your college experience. And because they are with you, they follow up with you, they want you to know you're doing good. I see myself as an example of a process that people sometimes see as impossible. It was challenging, it took some time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session. We are very happy to have you here today. So we are back with another interesting webinar for graduate students specifically. I'm Alina, and I'm an Education USA advisor, and we are very happy to welcome you here. As you know, December is dedicated specifically to webinars, which would be useful to our graduate students. So please be active, submit your questions, and our today's speaker will answer to them. So Education USA Virtual, as we are always saying, is here to assist you with interesting webinars, courses that you can find on our website. We also have interesting articles and that you can use for your preparation process. You can also see there the nearest center, the nearest Education USA center that would allow you to find an advisor to consult you during your path to your undergraduate or your graduate degree application process. So as I've said, our today's speaker, and as you've seen in our promos, our today's speaker is Alex from Rensselaer Institute, and here he's coming here with an interesting topic that might be useful to our students that are interested in an MBA program. So he has prepared an interesting presentation for us here. Hi, Alex, and thank you so much for joining us today. I think it's going to be useful if you can just say something about you, what you are specifically doing, and then we can proceed to the presentation.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Alina. It's a pleasure to be back with you again today. Good morning or afternoon, rather, to our audience in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. That's where we're targeting, correct? Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
So my name is Alex Englander. I am from the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I'm Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions, and I'm going to be talking today about MBA programs and generally how to apply, what to look for, and what an MBA can do for you.
Okay, then we'll start with the presentation.
Excellent. All right, so the MBA program at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Again, my name is Alex Englander. I'm Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions. And just a few program notes. This program has been designed to introduce you to RPI and the Lally School of Management's MBA program, or in general, MBA programs everywhere. For attending today, you can receive an application fee waiver. And if you scan the address, take a picture of the QR code, there's a web address in there. If you type that in, scan it, that'll take you to a registration page. And that will allow you to receive an application fee waiver. There's no code. It is simply just attached to your email address. So when you start your application, it will be attached there. And, lastly, please just hold all questions to the end, and I'll try to answer as many of them as we can. I'm going to try to keep this brief but informative. So if we can move next to the next slide, we'll get started. All right. So RPI, a little bit of background information for the Institute. We are the oldest technical university in the United States. We were founded in 1824. This has been our bicentennial year, which has been extremely exciting. We kicked it off officially in April when we had the unveiling and the ribbon cutting for our IBM Quantum One computer. And it goes all the way to the end of the semester. This weekend, we had our Victorian stroll. And so we're winding down our bicentennial year. It's been a great year here. We are located in Troy, New York, and we are about 2.5 hours north of New York City, about 3 hours to the west of Boston, Massachusetts, and 3.5 hours south of Montreal, Canada. So we're really at a crossroads of the Northeast. We are an R1 research university. We are nationally ranked top 100 in the United States. We have 7,000 total students, about 6,000 undergraduate students and 1,000 graduate students. And most of our graduate programs here at RPI are STEM designated. And that STEM designation comes in very handy especially as an international student, because if you have a STEM program if you have a program that's STEM designated, you get 3 years of optional practical training. So we can move the slide forward. Thank you. All right. So the Lally School of Management, which is where our MBA is housed. And what you're going to find is many MBA programs are housed in their own separate management schools or business schools. And business schools at universities tend to do things a little bit different than the main university. They may have multiple deadlines for applications. They may advertise differently. So business schools as a whole, they do things a little bit differently. And that's the same here at RPI and our Lally School of Management. So the mission of the Lally School is that we have there we go. At Lally, we believe in taking the educational experience beyond the classroom, harnessing it, the power of industry and research, and bringing it to the marketplace. Through our centers of excellence, we are defining the future of business. To bring the management and technology to create sophisticated global business leaders who are prepared to guide their organizations in the conversion of pioneering ideas and analytical insights into innovative products and processes and procedures. Now, what I want to say here is at RPI, our business school is geared toward the intersection of technology and research. Because we are a STEM school, we are geared towards students who have an undergraduate degree in science and engineering and technology. There are a lot of business schools out there that are geared very much are geared differently. So you may have a business school that could be geared more towards human resources and more towards people. It really depends on the school, the university. And so if you're looking for an MBA program, what I really would suggest is you do a deep dive into what that MBA program and what that business school is really about and who it's geared towards. Because so we do have marketing here at within our MBA program here at Rensselaer. However, it's not going to be a general marketing. It's going to be marketing towards entrepreneurs, startups. If you're looking for a general marketing or a marketing PR type of MBA program, that's going to be at a different type of business school. So moving forward, we have 5 programs here at the Lally School of Management. We have our Masters of Science in Business Administration. We have our Master of Science in Quantitative Finance and Business Analytics. We have our Master of Science in Supply Chain Management. Now, all of those are STEM designated master's degrees. And we also have our PhD in Management, again, and that is STEM designated. Unfortunately, the only program we have that is not STEM designated is our MBA program. We are working to get that as a STEM designated program, and we're hoping that will be in place within a year. So hopefully next year at this time, we will have a STEM designated MBA. And finally, I do want to introduce, he's not here today, but we have a new dean at the Lally School of Management, Liad Wagman. And he comes to us from the Illinois Institute of Technology. Our Lally School of Management is really on a forward trajectory, and we're excited about where it's going. So the Lally School of Excellence, we have 4 centers of excellence. We believe in taking the educational experience beyond the classroom, harnessing the power of industry and research, and bringing it to the marketplace. Through our centers of excellence, we are defining the future of business. So we have the Severino Center for Technology Entrepreneurship. It helps students innovate and commercialize their ideas through an array of valuable networking opportunities, and programs led by experienced entrepreneurs. You're going to see at many different schools, not just here at Rensselaer, but you're going to see your business schools bringing in entrepreneurs, startup founders. You're going to see them bringing those leaders of innovation and leaders in industry coming into the classroom, coming into the school, and they'll have a series of lectures from these leaders. We do it here at RPI. They're happening all over at business schools all over the country. Second, we have our Center for Research toward Advancing Financial Technology, which is CRAFT. And you're going to find, again, at many business schools, they're going to like their acronyms. So we explore the risks or the CRAFT Center explores risks and unintended consequences of the emerging and unknown challenges facing high-tech financial service industries. And we have our Centers for Supply Networks and Analytics, advances research and education in supply chain management and business analytics targeted at both academic and managerial audiences. And then the Center for Ethics in the Management of Emerging Technologies meets the challenge of uncharted ethical and moral dilemmas springing from emerging technologies. Many schools are going to have very similar centers of excellence or research centers within their business schools and throughout their universities, because that is a way for students to become more involved. It's a way for them to learn about the craft and the field that they're going into. We can advance the slide. There we go. And then just a little bit, the Lally School of Management, we want to build expertise that will advance your career with our distinguished master's programs in business administration, analytics, supply chain, quantitative finance, and our doctoral program in management. Our graduate students are immersed in industry from day one and conduct research to solve the problems of real-world business under the guidance of stellar faculty. So, talk about the master's degree or the MBA as a whole. And once again, this is for RPI. It does not go for every master's program. So the MBA at RPI, the Masters of Business Administration. So the average starting salary for our graduates is about $103,000. Now, I think what you will find is that the average starting salary for students with MBA degrees is going to be at least in that low six figures. MBAs, again, are always in demand. I can't remember a time when people are like, oh, no, don't go get an MBA. That would be, awful. No, MBAs are always in demand. And especially with emerging technologies now, and there's going to be a really good need for different types of MBAs. So when you're looking at a business school and a business degree, you want to look at the type of MBA that you would be receiving. So we have in our school, our MBA has one concentration and then 6 different tracks. So the one concentration we have is a life science entrepreneurship. And it's been designed to facilitate commercialization in New York State by developing entrepreneurs with the mix of skills and expertise needed to successfully grow innovative life science startups into commercially viable enterprises. From the demands of regulatory approval to the time-intensive processes of bringing a product or service to the market. The program presents a unique challenge or presents some unique challenges as well as tremendous opportunities for our MBA students. The MBA LSE, as it's known, concentration is offered in partnership with the School of Engineering, the School of Science, and in partnership with the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai Hospital down in New York City. Part of the MBA is taught by professors down at the Icahn. Part of this concentration is taught by professors down at the Icahn School of Medicine in Mount Sinai. What you want to look for at different MBA programs and different master's programs as a whole is if there is going to be that interdisciplinary component. Here at RPI, we believe in interdisciplinary education. So it's not just going to be the life science entrepreneurship program, but it's going to be the different programs that we have on campus that are all working with one another. Again, because we are a STEM designated school, our business programs are geared towards individuals who are looking to make that cross between a business degree and their science background. So, what are the different program tracks that we have available? Now, I can't really speak to the other business schools out there, but they do have program tracks that are just as important as RPIs. And so here at RPI, we have 6 different program tracks. And this is all helps you to attain and graduate that MBA. So we have business analytics, which focuses on using information to develop business insights and influence decision-making in organizations. We have finance, which prepares students for careers in financial services. Students on this track may follow 2 paths, investments or corporate finance. Now, you'll notice in our School of Business and Management, we do not have a master's in finance. The finance component is found in the MBA. Our next track is Management Information Systems, and we adopt an interdisciplinary approach that integrates business concepts with technical concepts to enable students to develop the knowledge, perspectives, and skills needed for a career in information systems. We have marketing. I mentioned that earlier. We have a marketing track which provides students with the opportunity to develop thorough understanding of the links between a product's design and manufacturing and the sales and marketing efforts necessary for achieving successful product development, commercialization, and management. So it's a little bit different than some other marketing programs that you may encounter. As I said, we have, we have a specific focus here. And so every business school has a specific focus. And let's finish out the different program tracks. We have supply chain management, which focuses on the design and management of supply chains and manufacturing and service industries. And then we have technological entrepreneurship, and that is developed for students who have an interest in new venture creation in startups and established firms. Students on this track may follow two paths: entrepreneurship for startups or corporate entrepreneurship. The MBA program here at RPI prepares students for a wide range of interdisciplinary roles in business development, product development, technology, and strategy consulting, as well as sales, marketing, and business leadership. We're very proud of the program that we've built here. And every school is proud of the program that they have. And you'll see some of the tracks that we have are similar to the MBA or to the specialty masters. For the specialty masters, you need to have a more focused undergraduate degree in quantitative analysis, science, computing, whereas our master's or MBA program, you don't need that. So if you're interested in business analytics, but you don't have a math or computer background, then the MBA is more of the way you want to go. Now, preparing your application. We're going to move forward and talk about the application process a little bit. It's never too late and never too early to start your application process. What are the application requirements? Now, our requirements are different than other schools, and schools have set their own requirements for the MBA programs. You will see MBA programs that will have a work requirement. You need to have 2 years in the workforce, or you need to have 5 years in the workforce. There are some MBA programs that are called executive MBA programs, and you need to be, you need to have at least 10 years experience in your field to go into the executive MBA program. So always look to see what the requirements are for the program that you are interested in pursuing. Here at RPI and the Lally School, we do not have a work requirement. So you can apply to the MBA program directly from your undergraduate program. We do direct intake from a bachelor's degree. So you want to know what your requirements are for the application, and you need to plan out your timeline. What exams are required for the program that you are interested in applying to? Are the GREs required or the GMAT? If you are an international student, which I believe most of you are, you will need to probably take the IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, or Duolingo test. Again, check with the schools you're interested in and make sure, see what tests they take. And then take the English language proficiency exam that is going to align that each school offers. So you don't have to take 4 different tests. You can just take one test and have that score sent to all the schools you're going to. You want to make sure that you are leaving enough time for immigration, specifically the I-20 processing procedures and your visa appointments. The U.S. embassies are very busy, and sometimes, depending on the country, it is difficult to get an appointment. So again, you want to be aware of that. If you don't know what the visa appointment wait time is in your country, you can contact the local U.S. consulate, and they will let you know. And then you want to have your recommenders lined up. Who are they? Have you asked them yet? And do you have contingencies? Some recommenders may not be available. Some recommenders may say, no, I can't really write you a recommendation. You want to make sure those recommendations are strong. So you need to ask the people that you want to write those letters early enough. So that's how you prepare to start your application. It's never too early to start, but it can be too late to start. If you are just now starting to think about what you're going to do next year after you graduate, you need to get on the ball, because a lot of the deadlines, the first deadlines have already passed. At RPI, we have 5 deadlines for the Lally School of Management. This is very different than the main college itself. Our MBA and specialty master's deadlines, the first one was back in November. So our second round deadline is December 15th, which is coming up in just a few days. Then our round 3, you have until February 1st. Round 4 is March 1st. And then round 5 is April 15th of 2025. Then after that, we have rolling admissions. And then the PhD deadline is January 1st. So for international students, for the audience that I'm speaking to today, please apply as early as possible, as to allow plenty of time for application review and completing the I-20 process and having your visa interview. Don't wait until April to submit your application. And this goes out to any school that you are applying to. You don't want to wait till the very end. You want to get your application in now. So if for example, if the school you're interested in has a December deadline, it may be too late for you to submit that application for then. So look at the next deadline. For us, it's February. For some places, it may be January. Try to get your application in for that deadline to be reviewed for that deadline, because you have to allow sometimes a month and a half for application review. And then you need to, if you are admitted, you need to take care of the different immigration processes so that you can be admitted to the United States. All right, so we are going to look at the different requirements now for or the components of our application here at RPI. And this is just going to give you a very basic understanding of what an application is going to look like. Applications at schools vary greatly. But this is what our application looks like. You have the online application form. Then there's a $75 application fee for attending today. I showed that QR code at the beginning of the presentation. We could probably bring that up a little bit later again, so you can copy that. And that QR code will, you fill out the information on that form, register for this event, and you'll receive an application fee waiver. We require a resume or CV. We require a personal statement, 2 letters of recommendation, test scores. The GRE and the GMAT for us is optional. And those GRE and GMAT scores have become optional for a lot of schools in the United States, which is a really great thing, because I believe it helps us to reach more students, which is even better. But check with the institution you are going to be applying to as to whether the GRE or the GMAT are required. And if they are, then you need to start working on taking those exams. And you need to ask them. So if you want to submit the GRE or the GMAT for RPI, you can. And you can submit your application and then within a week or so submit your GRE GMAT scores. Some schools, you need to have those scores submitted before you can submit your application. So always check with your school that you're applying to as to the correct way to submit those GRE GMAT scores. And then the IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, PTE tests. Those are required for all international students with some exceptions. And there are exceptions for each school. So if you are from a country where English is an official language, then you are exempt from taking the English language proficiency exams here at RPI. Or if you have received your degree in the United States, meaning your bachelor's degree or another master's degree, or you've received a degree, the US equivalent of a bachelor's or master's degree in a country whose official language is English, you would be exempt. And you want to look at whether what the exact criteria are to have an exemption for that English language proficiency. And lastly, transcripts. So here at RPI, to have your application reviewed, we require that you submit transcripts that can be unofficial. We don't need official copies of those transcripts unless you are admitted. So you have your transcripts at home, you can upload them into your application, and that's fine. If you are admitted, that's when we would require you to submit official transcripts. We do require transcripts from every university or college that you have attended. And you will find that that is true at every school that you apply to. All right. So I know a lot of students, both international and domestic, they're wondering, how am I going to pay for this degree? So at RPI, along with many other schools, master's students do not receive full funding. And if you do receive full funding, it's very rare. But we are very fortunate to be able to offer our master's students a very generous merit-based scholarship. Most of our students who apply and are admitted they are awarded the merit-based scholarship, and that can go up to about 40%. So when you are exploring the schools that you are interested in attending, always ask about their financial aid. What do they award students at the institutional level? Do they award merit scholarships? Do they have assistantships? If they have an assistantship, what does the assistantship cover? We do not have assistantships here at RPI for master's students. Our aid, our funding for students is specifically that merit-based scholarship. But there are some schools that do offer assistantships. So you want to be very careful, and you want to ask those schools what the aid is that they provide. Again, because it is a master's program, you probably will not be provided with full funding. Here at RPI, to be considered for the merit scholarship, there is no additional application. Some schools will have an additional application that you will need to fill out. And for us, your merit-based scholarship, you are considered for that scholarship as they are reviewing your application, and you receive that award letter very shortly, if not at the same time you receive your admissions decision. Again, different schools work differently, and it may take a little bit longer for you to receive an award letter from another school. That is a basic outline of an MBA program. So if you have questions, please ask away. I'm here to answer questions. I don't have answers to questions regarding specific schools unless you have a question about RPI. But please go ahead and ask questions.
Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing with us this presentation. I'm more than sure that the students will find it very useful. I already have seen that we have some questions, but first of all, I will allow time to answer the questions that we had in advance before the start of this webinar, because the students had the possibility to register for a link and ask the question in advance. And one of the first one was related to, are there any fintech-related economics PhD programs specifically for your institute?
Oh, absolutely. So we do have the PhD in management. And we have a PhD, and it's not in our School of Management, but it's located in our School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Science. We have a PhD in Applied Economics and Policy. It's a new program, but it's very fascinating, and it really brings together technology, entrepreneurship, and economics in a way that is very different than other PhD in economic programs. So those are the
Okay.
two PhD programs that we have.
And is PhD fully funded? Because you've mentioned already for the master
Yes.
degree that it's,
So our PhD programs at RPI are fully funded. Now, what that means is you would be awarded a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship, and then that assistantship, working as a TA or an RA, would then give you a tuition waiver and then a biweekly stipend to help pay living expenses or health insurance. So yes, we do have fully funded PhD programs, which we're very, very proud of.
perfect. Thank you. The other question that we've got is, this year I graduated from University in Business Administration. I didn't want to rush and jump into master's right after completing my bachelor degree. So that's why right now I'm working and getting some experience. Is it reasonable to apply for an MBA?
Yes. So as I explained, some MBA programs, they do require work experience, some as little as 2 years, and some, depending on the type of program that you're looking at, require up to 10, 15 years work experience. Here at RPI, we do not have a work experience. You don't need any work experience. That is not a qualifier. It is helpful, but it is not required. And so you can apply directly out of your bachelor's degree. You can apply if you've been out of school for a year working at that time. We take students who've been out for many years. We take students who are going directly into an MBA after their undergraduate degree. But really, they need to look at the program specifically. I know, I think Johns Hopkins and Rutgers University and even Illinois Institute of Technology, I believe they all have some type of work requirement on their applications, whereas here at RPI, we do not.
Okay, thank you. The other question is, what is the duration of the MBA program, and what is the minimum score for the English proficiency test?
Certainly. So our duration, our program, our MBA is 45 credits, and that can be completed in as little as a year and a half. There are some programs that are 2-year programs. As an international student, you have to attend full time to maintain your F1 visa. So that's why you can do the program in as little as a year and a half. As for the English proficiency tests, so we accept 4 different exams. We have the IELTS, and the minimum score is a 6.5. The TOEFL, where the minimum score is an 88. We accept the PTE with a minimum score of 59, and then the Duolingo English test, where a minimum score of 120. each school has a different requirement. So our test scores may be very different than NYU's test scores. And NYU's test scores may be very different than, let's say, Penn State University. So you really need to do a deep dive and inquire with the schools as to what their minimum scores are. Some schools, I will tell you, if you score below the minimum, they will not review your application. And some schools, they will review your they will review your application if you score a little bit below the minimum. So again, you have to ask. When you are applying to graduate school, or even when you're applying to undergraduate, you have an admissions counselor like myself, and you want to ask that admissions counselor any question that comes to mind, because you can't just claim, oh, well, I didn't know, when you have someone available to you, I wouldn't say 24/7, but you have someone available to ask those questions all the time.
I just wanted to double check here. So you've mentioned the program has a duration of 1.5 years. And do the students have the right to take an OPT?
So our MBA program is not STEM designated, but they do get 1 year of OPT after they graduate. Other of our programs are STEM designated, and we are working on getting a STEM designated for our MBA. But right now it's not STEM designated, so they only get the 1 year OPT, which is kind of unfortunate, but we're working on that. So they do want to look to see if there is that STEM designation or not. But that 1 year OPT can still turn into something more depending on the company that they work for. We have some amazing corporate partners. We have recruiters that come to our school from some of the best corporations, organizations in the country, Boeing, Lockheed. We have recruiters from the federal government, state government. So Amazon, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, from all over. We have recruiters from all over that come to us, and many of them will keep students on even after their OPT is done and sponsor their visas.
Perfect. Thank you. And the question that we've got during the live, it's a long one, actually. I'm not really sure if it's going to be visible here on the whole screen. So the question is from Ruslan. He says that he has been working for many years in the oil and gas industry in the fields of metals, welding, and NDT. I would like to pursue a master's degree in materials and corrosion at your university. However, due to my current situation, I'm 40 years old. I have a heavy workload. Obtaining an English language certificate is somehow challenging for me. Nevertheless, I have participated in international conferences where I represented both my organization and my country. So in light of this, is it possible to be admitted to your institute without an official English language certificate? I think that's
Certainly.
a good question.
That's actually a really great question, and I'm glad you asked that, Ruslan. Thank you so much. So you would need to take an English language proficiency exam. And I mentioned the 4 that we accept. The Duolingo seems to be getting very, very popular. And part of that reason is it's inexpensive. I believe it's like $49 or $50 US, whereas some of the other exams can cost several $100s. You can take the exam at home in your own setting. And I don't know about anybody else, but I get really horrible test anxiety. So being in your own home environment can really help you. You need to take an exam of English proficiency if you are from a foreign country. And that is because we need to see what how you do speaking, listening, writing English. We don't accept any type of certificate. Students have submitted medium of instruction certificates, and we don't accept those. So the only way to complete your application of study at RPI, if you're an international student, is to take a test of English proficiency from one of those 4 testing companies. And then, you submit those scores. And if you don't do well, then you keep studying and you try again. And I'm going to tell you, most of the schools that I'm aware of, they don't accept a medium of instruction certificate either. You're going to need to take those one of those English language proficiency tests. Submit those scores, and as I said, at RPI, if you score lower than the minimum, we would still review your application. Sometimes we may get an application that is just so amazing, but they scored a little bit lower on those English language proficiency tests, that the professor may be like, I want to talk with them. I want to see how well they do in an interview. And we may still admit you with a lower score and ask that you take a rudimentary English test or English class when you get here to the United States. So it's not all bad. There are ways that at times we can work with you.
I totally agree. And I can just encourage you, Ruslan, and I can say that as for all institutions in the US, they do a holistic admission. So maybe based on your work experience and maybe based on some other things, if you're not going to excel to have the maximum score for your English proficiency test, maybe you would just have a great portfolio and, some really great, a great GPA, or maybe some great achievements or other activities that might influence the professor to have an interview with you. That was actually my other question. If they have an interview with the professor, and that might be a chance for them to be admitted.
Correct. Now, we don't do interviews usually. Our application process, again, we've streamlined our application process, so we don't do interviews normally. Sometimes we do. I do know that if they are applying to the PhD program, they do interviews. The PhD management program is extremely competitive. They only take 2 or 3 students a year, and the process is a bit excruciating for the student because there's a first round interview, then there's a second round interview, and then there's the waiting. Whereas for the MBA and our other master's degrees, there are no interviews required. But sometimes the professor may be like, I want to talk with them before I make my mind up. And the professor would reach out to you personally, or the admissions committee would reach out to you if that were the case.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Ruslan, in this case, you can also reach the professor by yourself, and maybe you can be that convincing so he can have the interview maybe before you will just start with your application. So yeah, here is about researching. That's what we are also encouraging our students to do. Okay, so I think we are done with all the questions. Thank you so much, Alex, for your explanations and for the details and tips. I hope all the students that have watched us today, they will use all your advices. And again, at the beginning of this webinar, Alex already did the QR code that you can use for the application fee waiver, which I think is really, really useful. And that was a surprise because I didn't know about that. So I think that's really great that Alex has prepared that for you guys. Use this opportunity. Thank you so much for watching us today. Thank you, Alex, for your presentation. And guys, please submit for our future events. We are coming this week with an interesting session related to the statement of purpose. So for all those who are preparing that for their graduate degree, you can also view us on Thursday. Thank you once again for joining us today, and have a great day.